case I need this. I can't remember if I have a good recording of this class or not. Okay, so we're looking at quality adjectives, and somebody tell us what an adjective is. Okay, Laura Kate.
It defines like a noun.
Okay, it describes a noun. Another time, sometimes people use the word modifies, and I understand what they mean by that, but I like the word describes better, right? So a noun is what? What is a noun?
Name, place, animal, or thing.
Hmm?
Name, place, animal, or thing.
Yeah, person, place, thing, or sometimes ideas, right? Okay, so an adjective will explain something about that noun. It'll describe it. It'll modify it, if you will. And just like with strong verbs, there are strong verbs and weak verbs. There are also strong adjectives and weak adjectives. And for some reason, IEW decided to call them quality adjectives instead of strong, but really it's the same thing. A strong adjective, a quality adjective, is an adjective that gives you an image in your mind, okay? So let's look at some examples. So for instance, it will tell how something looks, sounds, feels, tastes, smells, also emotions, okay? And just like there are weak verbs, there are also weak adjectives. We might call them poor adjectives just to be a little different. And we don't want to use these. And the problem with using them is they're used in too many different ways to mean almost anything, to the point that they mean almost what? Nothing, right? If a one word can be used to mean almost anything, then in reality, it really means very little on the page. Because remember, when your audience is reading, they're losing anywhere from 50 to 90% of what you're trying to communicate, because that is communicated in body language when we talk, okay? And you lose all that body language in your writing. So you've got to put that body language into the words that you use. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Otherwise, your writing is just flat. And some people like to take things that other people have written and they like to make whatever they want to out of it. It's kind of a popular sport, especially in politics, in college. Sometimes when we're talking about the Bible, you know, and really though, the point of reading is to find out what the author is trying to say. The point of reading is not for us to take something and put our own ideas on it and say, this is what the author meant. Okay? But you as the author have a lot of responsibility, because you have to make sure that you use words that it's going to help your reader really understand what you meant. Okay? And the problem with weak adjectives, poor adjectives, and weak verbs is that it doesn't really give your reader any clues about what you meant. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So just like we're banning certain verbs, go, went, come, came, say, said, see, look, get, got, think, thought, like, right? We're banning those. There are plenty more that could be banned, but I have to be reasonable. We're also going to ban adjectives, certain adjectives, okay? So here's some that are totally abused in writing. Good, bad, pretty, nice. Sometimes when I want to be silly and somebody asks me how I liked something, and I'll say, it was nice, in the most IEW way. That means I'm really not wanting to commit to what I actually thought about it, right? Big, little, ugly, mean, interesting. My friend Alona Law, who is an English professor for a long time, particularly disliked the word interesting. She would go off, you know, very unhappy about that when students use interesting, and we'll see why in a minute. I'll show you the page. And a lot. Now, I'm not taking off points if you use a lot in your paper this time, but from now on, I will. Okay, a lot is banned forever. So let's look at page 72, and you're going to see lots of replacements for all of these words. Now, again, when you speak, these things are not so critical. Your audience can understand what you mean, okay? But not when you put it on a paper, all right? So you can look at the word bad there on page 72 and see why it's so useless in writing. Look at all the different types of bad that we can mean. We could mean things that have to do with bad character. We could mean something that has to do with like bad behavior, bad food, bad movies. We could mean that something is faulty. Like my husband's an electrician and he'll say, it had a bad switch. Well, he didn't mean it had an unscrupulous switch. And we know that when he says it, right? It means that it had a faulty switch. But if we were writing it, we'd want to specify what we meant. Defective, distorted. What exactly do we mean? Bad could just mean unpleasant. It could mean something that's really harmful. It's bad for you, right? What do you mean actually? Do you mean it it's fatal? Yeah. Don't chew on there's a plant. Oh yeah. Don't chew on foxgloves. It's really bad for you. Foxgloves is a plant. It has a chemical in it called digoxin, which affects your heart. So if I wanted to tell somebody in writing not to chew on digoxin, not to chew on foxglove, I would want to say bad. I would want to say it's fatal. Okay? Say what you mean. There's a big difference between let's see. It tastes bad, or it'll actually kill you, right? Big difference there. Okay, same thing with good. Look at all the different ways you can use the word good here. This is why these words can't mean anything on a piece of paper. There are just too many meanings for it, okay? Flip over to the page that has pretty and ugly. Oh, look at the page for nice. Yeah. Now, if I'm talking to you and I talk about somebody that had a fancy car that I thought was pretty amazing, and I said, yeah, that is a really nice car. You sort of get the picture of what I mean, right? Yes. But if I write, that is a really nice car, doesn't come across, does it?
No.
So if I wanted to talk about a really nice car, I might say on paper, I might want to say elegant, stylish, pricey, plush. It depends on what kind of car it is. Depends on whether you're talking about a Rolls Royce or you're talking about a Challenger. Right? Okay, turn the page and let's see. Mean. Someone who is mean is different from a mean remark or a mean act. And it's also very different from somebody that's just unpleasant. Okay. Interesting. Okay, interesting is an interesting word. It can mean all of these things. It can mean astonishing. It can mean fascinating. It can mean odd. It can mean weird, or it can mean mysterious, as if you were talking about something that you saw in the night sky and you said, that was interesting. All right. But if I write that was interesting on a piece of paper, they might completely miss that I meant mysterious and freaky. Right? Okay. Same with big, same with a lot. and small on the next page, on page 78. And then we've got pages and pages of actual descriptive words, which you are certainly able to use for your quality adjectives. And we will be exploring descriptive writing after Christmas when we start talking about story writing, but you can go ahead and use these words right now. So we've got words about sound, words about sight, words about touch, taste, smell, and 2 whole pages of emotions. Yes, Rosa.
Is like a banned word when it means similar to?
No, it is only banned as a verb. Thank you for bringing that up, because I have some students that'll think, oh, I can't use like, and I'm glad people take it seriously, okay? But then they'll use these torturous ways of describing similarities instead of just saying like. Like is only banned as a verb. If you say, if you're using it as a simile, basically, Rosa, like, the storm hit in a flash, like a blah, 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 blah. That's okay. That's a comparison word. Excellent, excellent. That's why I have it listed on the, quickly flip with me to the page you just did, page 200, your composition checklist. And you will see I have categories of things that are banned, okay? And so you'll see that like is banned as a verb, okay? It's not banned as a comparison word, okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, let's go ahead and talk about, I could just talk about style all day. It's a lot more fun than the other stuff, but we do have to move on to the www.asia clause. All right. Does everybody see that at number 5 on page 55?
Yes.
Now, some of y'all have done IEW before. Let me see who's done IEW before. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, good. I like to talk about this. So www, we think World Wide Web, right? Sounds like a website. And it's funny, when I write this in my document, it'll always show up as a link. And then I have to go and I have to take out the hyperlink because it stands for certain words that start a clause. Now, a clause has to have, who knows what a clause has to have for it to count as a clause? It's okay if you don't know this. Vincent, give it a try.
A subject and a verb.
A subject and a verb, which is different from a phrase because a phrase does not have to have a verb. I mean, phrases don't actually have verbs, which we'll talk about when we get to prepositional phrasal openers. But clauses always have a subject and a verb. And there are 2 different kinds of clauses. There are independent clauses, clauses that can stand on their own. And then there are dependent clauses, such as the one we're about to talk about right now, which is also what a which clause is. That means it can't stand on its own. So if I walked up to you and I said, when he was exploring America, would you have any idea about what I was talking about? No. All right. I'd have to finish the sentence. If you can't say that clause all by itself and have it make sense, then it's a dependent clause. And you have to make sure you write the rest of the sentence. But sometimes students get kind of lost in these things. They get longer and longer, and then they kind of think it's so long that they surely must be finished with it, and then they'll put a period. Okay, so you have to check out your clauses and make sure. So these are the words we're going to use to do clausal, this clausal dress up. When, while, where, as, since, if, and although. Now the problem is most of these words can also be used as prepositions. And so you've got to make sure that you've got a verb to go with it, but we'll cross that bridge in a few minutes, okay? First of all, I want you to get these words in your head because you got to include one of these in every paragraph. Not all of these words. You don't have to have a sentence with a when clause and a sentence with a where clause and a sentence with a while clause and a sentence. You just have to get one sentence with one of these words in it, okay? Y'all listen carefully to me now, because I don't want anybody to do a whole bunch of extra work that they didn't have to do, thinking that every one of these words must be used in every paragraph, okay? Then I would be a true monster if I was going to make you do that. And the other thing I would like to say is, try not to use the same one, though, in every paragraph. I get students that get stuck on one, and they use the same one, and then it starts to jump out at me. Like, people will get stuck on where, or they'll get stuck on although, or they'll get stuck on if. Try to change them up. Did I do this last time? Variety is the spice of writing. It's also the spice of life, but it's the spice of writing. We want the V word, not the B word. What's the B word? It's a crime in writing.
Basic?
Huh?
I don't know.
Boring. We want the V word, variety, not the B word, boring, right? Okay, and so for it not to be boring, you need to change up the words that you use. Okay, so let's say these words together. Read them off the page there. They're in bold black right here. And you can remember what they are sort of with the www.asia. So these are the words, and y'all just join in saying them with me, okay? I'm a music person. I guess Laura Kate's a music person. Who else in here is a music person? Okay, good. That makes all of us, okay? All right, and so I like to keep these in rhythm, so we're going to say them together. Listen to me, and then you join in, okay? When, while, where, as, since, if, although. 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 Hey, when, while, where, as, since, if, although. Yes. Okay. Who can do it for us?
Me.
You can read it off the page. You don't have to do it from memory yet. Okay, Vincent.
When, while, where, as, since, if, although.
Great. Laura Kate.
When, while, where, as, since, if, although.
Rosa.
When, while, where, as, since, if, although.
Samra.
When, while, where, as, since, if, although.
Great. Charlotte.
When, while, where, as, since, if, although.
Great. Aiden.
When, while, where, as, since, if, although.
Anirudh.
When, while, where, as, since, if, although.
Yay. Did I get everybody?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so let's see how we use these now, okay? You can say you had a little plain old sentence and you said, oh, I don't have a www.asia in my paragraph yet. Let's see, what can I do? So you have this sentence in there, Sue went to the dentist, right? You pick the word that goes the best with whatever it is you're trying to say. So here's some possibilities. You can use several different ones to, these are actually adverbial clauses, to explain more about how she went to the dentist. So Sue went to the dentist when her tooth started hurting. Sue went to the dentist while her class was on a field trip for Sue. Sue went to the dentist since it was time for her checkup. Sue went to the dentist although she was afraid. Sue went to the dentist if. That wouldn't work, would it? Okay. Sue went to the dentist as the clock struck 3. I can't remember if I've missed some others. Sue went to the dentist where her mother went to the dentist. I mean, you could do it, but it's not great, right? Okay. So find a basic sentence that you got and add some more information to it using one of these words. When, while, where, as, since, if, or although. Okay? All right. Now let's look at one more, and it's on the next page. And this is the because clause. And it works exactly the same way as the www.asia does. But we want to be particular about using a because clause in every sentence because we want to think about cause and effect, okay? Has anybody ever been told not to start a sentence with because?
Yes.
Y'all heard that?
Yes.
Okay, I was told that in school, but I didn't pay any attention to it because I read a lot and I didn't even think about it. I didn't feel like I was breaking the rule because I knew how to do it. The reason teachers say don't write sentences that start with because is because they don't want to get into the whole dependent, independent clause thing. Okay, so for instance, if you had a test on Christopher Columbus and the essay question was, why did Christopher Columbus sail across the ocean blue in 1492? And you answered, because he was searching for a shorter route to India. That.
Excuse me, Mrs. Kimbrell, I have to go get my charger. My computer's dying.
Okay, Ryan. That would actually be a fragment because you don't have the rest of the sentence. And the way you know is if I walked up to you and said, because he was searching for a shorter route to India, you would go, what? Okay. So you need the whole sentence. That's why teachers say don't start a sentence with because, but it really isn't true. You just have to finish the sentence. Because he wanted to find a shorter route to India, Christopher Columbus sailed across the ocean blue in 1492. Okay, that's the whole sentence. That makes sense? Okay, so these things work the same. The www.asia and the because clause works the same. You can put it at the beginning of the sentence, or you can put it in the middle of the sentence. You just got to make sure you got both parts of the sentence, okay? Now, next week, well, not next week, but the week after that, we will be talking about using them as intentionally to start sentences, and then we'll sort of change the way we do it. But right now, I don't care what part of your sentence it appears in, okay? It can be in the middle of the sentence, or it can be at the beginning of the sentence. Does that make sense? Okay. I really want to do these fun exercises that I wrote. But before we do that, I've just got to talk about the other part. Okay. I would rather do style exercises, write style exercises, and talk about style and talk about wonderful words. But instead of doing that, we now have to talk about structure. Remember that we're always going to be talking about two different things in this class. We're going to be talking about structure and style. Structure is how we arrange the things that we want to say. Style is how we actually say those things. Okay? So structure is super duper extra terribly important, but it's not nearly as fun to talk about as style. But that's the way life is, isn't it? Okay, so let's look at page 25. And we're going to talk about a more advanced way of getting keyword outlines. So how have we gotten our keyword outlines up to this point? What process did we go through to make a keyword outline?
We look at the paragraph and determine the best word that fits in
each
sentence.
Sentence, okay? And that's worked fine for what we've been doing, but it really doesn't serve very well or very long. If I were to give you this encyclopedia and I were to say, okay, I want you to keyword outline this article on India. And let's see, it starts on page 61. Okay. And it goes to see, where does it go to? It goes to page 86. But just go ahead and make sure you keyword outline every single sentence and then write me up a report. Do you think that you would like to be given that job? No. That would not be a reasonable thing, right? Again, I would truly be a monster. Okay. So when you have to get information for a keyword outline from a longer source than one little paragraph that's got 8 sentences in it, you got to have a different way of going about getting them, don't you? Okay. And so what we would want to do actually is decide, well, I can't write about everything there is to know about India. So I am going to pick 3 topics to write about India. And since I am me and I like certain things, I think I am going to pick art, literature, and education, right? So I can find that here in this book, art and literature, and then on the, and there's several paragraphs for that, and then there's education. Okay, so when we start picking keywords, when we start picking things from a big source, we have to have some way of narrowing down. We can never write about everything there is to know about a subject, particularly a complex subject like a country, or how the heart works, or I don't know, astronomy. You know, you can't write about everything in a research report, can you? You've got to pick something. And the way we'll decide how to pick those things are, we'll pick what we think is interesting or what we think is important. Now, I personally think that art, literature, and education is interesting. And I also think it's important. So that's how I would go about choosing. Somebody else might want to write about religions in India. And let's see, they've got several here listed. They've got Hinduism, Islam, and other religious minorities. Okay? Somebody else might want to write about, okay, here's people and culture, language, caste, and ways of life. Different people would pick different things because they think those things are interesting, or they think they're important, or they think they're both. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But even when you pick those topics, you still can't write about everything there is to know, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could probably do a whole paper just on literature in India or art in India. So I'm going to have to be very careful if I'm going to write about education, art, and literature, and I'm going to have to pick out just certain really important, interesting facts about those topics, right? And that's how we all do this. Who's ever had to write a really, really long research paper where you had to pick stuff and decide what you were going to put in your paper? Okay, so this is how we go about it. Now, sometimes the teacher or the professor will say, you have to write a 10-page paper, and here is what you must write about. And if they tell you that, then you do it that way. But sometimes you'll be given a choice. And then when you're given a choice, always pick something that you really like, because you'll write better if you like it yourself, right? Okay, that's a survival tip. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to practice picking some things here. So if you look on page 25, you will see this. We're working now toward the paragraphs we've written so far haven't really been related to each other. You know, you might have had stars and horses and wild warriors, or whatever that was called, or you might have had eggplant, indigenous people, and the ear. None of them have anything to do with each other. But now the things we write are going to have to do with each other. So from now on, you're only going to have one MLA heading. And when you finish a paragraph on one page, you're just going to go down to the next line and start a new paragraph. Okay? So we're not going to have any more of these separate things with separate headings. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, I think I just lost somebody. I think I just lost 2 people. Oh, there's Aiden, and I lost Charlotte too. Okay. So hopefully, okay, there's Charlotte. I'm sorry, y'all having glitches, huh? Okay, so let's look at page 25. And as it says there at the top of the page 25, until now you've been choosing 3 keywords from each sentence of a source in order to get information for your keyword outlines, right? We've gone sentence by sentence. And then reports often require the use of an encyclopedia or a book for information. And as I just pointed out with the India article, it would not be practical to write 3 words from every sentence in an encyclopedia article that spans 20 plus pages. Okay, that's when we can really see how unreasonable that method is. So before you create an outline for a multi-paragraph report, you have to understand the structure of the report. A multi-paragraph report is written about a particular subject, not about the ears, stars, and indigenous people. I can't think of a way that could possibly all appear in one single paper, okay? So you have to know what your subject is, and then you have to choose. There's always a lot of topics available for any kind of big subject, okay? And so then you have to choose what exactly it is that you're going to write about that subject. So for instance, if you were going to write a report about an elephant and the elephant's body, you would need to, you could draw it out like this. Subject, body of an elephant, and then you have topic 1, the trunk, topic 2, tusk and teeth, and topic 3, senses, okay? There's a lot to say about an elephant's body. You can't write about everything in a three body paragraph report. So you'd have to choose. And actually, that's what you're going to be doing for your homework. Okay? And so then you would take notes only about those topics. There might be a lot of other information, but it would need, each paragraph would need to have its own topic, okay? And then, of course, how are we going to decide? Because there's probably still too much information. We're going to decide by picking the facts that we think are interesting or important, okay? All right. So let's actually practice this. If you will turn to page, I wrote this handbook, but okay, turn to page 96. All right. We're just going to practice note-taking here using this article, Kinds of Elephants. Now, we're only going to practice making a outline for a 1 paragraph, but this is the same type of procedure you're going to go through when you do your body of the elephant paper. Is anybody in here crazy about elephants like I am? I think they're so amazing. I even have some wooden elephants over there on my bookshelf. I don't know if you can see them from there. Okay, so elephants are amazing, and oh, that's right. That's the next one. Everybody make sure when you come to class next time, in case I forget to tell you, you're going to need those, not this time, but next time, the whale mini books that I sent you and your colored sticky tabs. We'll be using those next time. I love color sticky tabs. Okay. So if I was given this article, Kinds of Elephants, and I was told to write a paragraph from it, obviously that's way too much information for 1 paragraph, right? Okay. So what I want to do is I want to read through it, and I want to have a pen or a pencil nearby so I could actually mark the things that I think are interesting or important. So I'm just going to quickly scan the information before I decide what it is I'm going to write. So you all, actually, let me put this on my, let me do a screen share here, and we'll do this together. Let's see this page 98. Okay, so I can just show you how I go about doing this. 98. Wait a minute. 96, excuse me. Okay. All right, so the first thing I want to do is, oh dear. I got this open, but I'm not sure. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is quickly scan this and just see what kind of information I have available, okay? And I'm going to underline things that I think are interesting or that I think are important. Oh, let me put it on comment here. Comment. Okay. All right, so let's see. Kinds of elephants. There are two chief kinds of elephants. All right, I think that's important. African Indian, also known as Asian. Okay. African elephants are larger than Indian elephants. Okay, y'all underline your stuff too as we go. All right, now it doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to use all of this. I'm just picking the things I think are the most important, okay? Wild African elephants live only Africa south of the Sahara. That seems kind of important. Okay. An African elephant is about the same height at the shoulder and the rump. I don't think that's interesting or important. Its back dips slightly in the middle. I don't care. Adult African bull male elephants stand about 11 feet tall at the shoulder and weigh about 12,000 pounds. Wow. The cows are about I don't care about the cows. They seem kind of shrimpy now after having read that. The largest known elephant, an African bull, measured 13 feet, 2 inches tall. I think the largest of anything is pretty fascinating. Heaviest ever was over 14,500 pounds. Let's see, I always forget this. Isn't a ton 2,000 pounds?
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about 7¼ tons. That's impressive. Okay. Most African elephants have dark gray skin. That could be important. Their forehead forms a smooth curve. I think that's boring. Their ears measure as wide as 4 feet and cover their shoulders. I think that's fascinating. Both bulls and cows have tusks. Well, okay. I guess that might be important. The tusk of most African bulls grow from 6 to 8 feet long and weigh 50 to 100 pounds each. The tusk weigh from 15 to 20 pounds each. Why has this stopped working all of a sudden? Well, oh, okay. The longest tusk measured 11½ feet and heaviest weighed 293 pounds. Okay. The trunk of an African elephant has 2 fleshy fingertip-like structures on the tip. The skin of the trunk has deep wrinkles. African elephants have 4 or 5 toes. I don't think any of this is interesting at all. So I'm not going to bother with it. Oops, wait. Okay. Trunk of an elephant, blah, blah. Okay. 2 types of African elephants. Bush and forest. Okay. Bush elephants live in most countries south of the Sahara. Forest elephants live in those countries, in other countries of Central and Western Africa. Both kinds of elephants inhabit forests, grasslands, mountains, swamps, and shrubby areas. Indian elephants live only in, Indian live in southern and southeastern Asia, okay? Found in forests and jungles. I'm not going to list all those countries. I've already said they're in South and Southeastern Asia. I think that's good enough. Indian elephants have an arched back, blah, 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 blah. They're shrimpy compared to the African elephants. Instead of underlining that, I'm just going to write shrimpy. Now, seriously, an elephant that is 9 feet tall, it may be small compared to an African elephant, but that's taller than my ceiling. I just want you to get a good picture of this, okay? So I might say in comparison, but I'm not saying that they're small because they aren't. None of them are small. Okay, most Indian elephants have light gray skin and may have pink or white spots. Polka dots. I think that's cute, so I'm going to underline it. 2 humps, blah, blah, blah. Ears half as large, blah, blah, blah. Most Indian bulls have tusks. Some Indian males called matnas have no tusk. Most Indian females have none. Some Indian females have extremely short tusks called tushes, which is kind of a funny name. The trunk of an Indian elephant, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I don't care about the rest of that. All right. So do you think I've got enough information that I could actually get a decent keyword outline from it?
Yeah.
I think I could. I think I could. So now the way things are here, if the teacher just said, write any kind of paragraph you want from this article, I could choose to focus on just the African elephant, or I could choose to focus on just the Asian elephant, right?
Mhm.
If she gave me the choice, or he. Or I might choose to do what I actually am going to do, which is to talk about 2 kinds of elephants, African and Asian. Okay? So that's what we're going to do for this keyword outline. I'm just going to take you through this so you can see how we go about doing this. Okay, now I've already decided, I've already defined my topic. If I had only said African, I could not put Asian in here. If I had only said Asian, I could not put African in here. But I've said both, so what does that mean?
You can put both in.
Yes, I'm going to have to talk about both of them. So I'm going to say, I'm going to do, I just like to think through what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to talk about African here, and I'll talk about Asian here, and I could even get in another fact if I wanted to. So I might do African here and Asian here. I'm just making notes to myself, okay? So that way I won't take up all of my space talking about the African or all of my space talking about the Asian, because I already said that I'm going to talk about both of them. I have made that choice here in my topic, which will become my topic sentence, and I have to stick to that, okay? And then I write this word clincher down at the bottom just to remind myself that when I'm done writing my paragraph, I need to make sure I have a good clincher to close it. Okay, so let's look at the information that we've got available. We've already got the thing about 2 kinds of elephants. So now I'm going to start taking notes. So I picked the information I think is important. So I'm going to do African larger than Asian. I'm just going to, these are going to be my abbreviations for these. I've just decided this. This is not an official abbreviation, but it's going to be my abbreviation. The danger would be if I forgot what those meant and then I went back to write about it and I had no clue. AF, what is that? AS, what is that? Okay, so we have to make sure if we do make an abbreviation, we know what we mean by it. African greater than Asian, let's see, live south of Sahara. Oh, I think I'm also giving y'all 4. I think I've increased your keywords to 4 at this point. Because when you start getting into writing reports, sometimes you need a little bit more help. So I think I've said that. Okay, south of Sahara. Africa. Okay. All right. So I've used 1, 2, 3 words there. How's that? You think we can make, this is an abbreviation for the word of, you know, like 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock. It really means 1 of the clock. Okay. So let's see. African, this next one, I want to talk about the size. Okay, now remember I've got this on your list of symbols. Who remembers what the symbol this is for?
Male.
Male. Okay, so males, about, that little sign means about 11 feet tall. That's an arrow. For some reason, my thing isn't working very well here today. And about 8,000 pounds. Largest, 13 feet 2 inches. Heaviest, bless you,
Thank you.
14,500 pounds. Look at all that information I got in there, and I only used 2 words. Ta-da! Okay. Does that make sense, y'all?
Mhm.
The males are about 11 feet tall and about 8,000 pounds. The largest was 13 feet 2 inches tall, and the heaviest was 14,500. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to do dark gray. I don't care about their forehead forming a smooth curve. Ears, 4 feet wide. Bulls and cows. Oops, that's wrong. Bulls and cows have tusks. Y'all know what the tusks are made out of?
Ivory.
Yeah, exactly. Longest, $11.5 feet. Heaviest, I could write smaller if I wasn't writing with this thing. Heaviest, 293 pounds. Okay, let me see if I wrote on your assignment sheet that you could have 4 words. Yes, I do say that on page 201. Follow the keyword outline rules, except you may use up to 4 words per point. Okay, and you can see how you might need them. And then I need one more thing here. Oh, I'm going to put where they live. Okay. Well, this thing keeps getting stuck. I don't know why. Okay, there we go. All right. Let's see. 2 bush and forest. Let's see. Forest elephants. Okay. Is that the forest? Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to fix this. 2 bush. I mean 2 types, but I'm going to write that. Bush are south of Sahara. Forest, central, let's see, 1, 2, 3, central and west Africa. and I'm abbreviating Africa with AF, so I'm going to do it there. I could maybe do another point about where they inhabit forest, grasslands, mountains, swamps, and shrubby areas, but I'm really out of space here. So I'm going to move on. Okay. So now that we finished talking about African, the most interesting things that I think about the Africans, now we're going to talk about Asians. Okay. Okay. So in Indian or Asian live, okay, I'm going to do Asian, and I'm going to draw an arrow, South and Southeastern Asia. Okay. And I'm going to do forest, jungles. All right. I'm not going to list all those countries because I've really taken care of that by saying South and Southeast Asia. Okay. I don't really care about all of this information about their back and their shoulders and blah, 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 blah. But I do like this part about their coloring because I think it's really cute. So light gray. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to do, well, I've already said that the Africans are larger, so I don't need to say that the Asians are smaller, which would stand to reason. Light gray with pink and white polka dots. And if I wanted to, I really could put some information about their height here. About 9 feet tall and about, let's see, well, it says up to 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 8,000 pounds, which is really the same thing we got for our African. Oh, no. This was wrong. It wasn't 8,000 pounds up here. It was 12,000. I thought, how come they're so close in size? Okay. Sorry. Okay. Indian elephant has, okay. Then I want to do about their tusks because I think this is really interesting. Okay. Bulls have tusks 4 to 5 feet. Some bulls, no tusks. Well, I'm just going to do not. I don't want to waste another word on that same word. Machnas. I'm going to put that in parentheses, quotation marks. Females, generally tuskless. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Oh, I'll do this. Generally not. And then I want to do tushes for the ones that do have it. Hopefully I'll remember what that was about. Did you have a question, Rosa?
We have 5 words and I think 4 and 7.
4.
Is that okay?
4 is bush, Sahara, forest, and central.
That's maybe 4. It was 3. Or did you cross that off? Like, there's a line through. I'm not sure if you meant to cross that off.
Number 3, yeah, that was an accident. That was just a pen error.
You do have 5.
Let's see if I can get rid of that. Gray, ears, tusk. Oh, you're right. Yeah, I have to go back and get rid of some of that. Yeah, good catch there. Let's see. I think the rest of them I've just got 4.
Yeah, okay, we do.
All right. Yeah, I need to abbreviate this maybe. Dark gray. Thank you. That's very very observant of you. Dark gray. How about dark gray? Okay. All right. Do you think we've got enough information now we could write a good paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we try saying the paragraph? Okay. I'll start out with the topic sentence, then I want everybody to say one of the sentences. Okay. I can't see. The only problem with this view is I can't see everybody all at once, which is really annoying. Hold on a minute. I wish there was some way I could fix this. Oh, there's the rest of the people. Okay. Yeah, I can. Okay, good. All right. Okay, so I'm going to do the topic sentence and I want everybody to pick a sentence. Okay. All right. Two kinds of elephants exist on Earth, the African and the Asian. Okay, let's see. Laura Kate, could you do number 1 for us?
Okay. The African elephants are much larger than the Asian elephants, and they only live south of the Sahara in Africa.
Super. Okay, who can do number 2?
I can try.
Okay, now it's okay if you break it up into 2 sentences when you say it. You're never required to anymore to write the same number of sentences that you have in your keyword outline, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Male elephants can be 11 feet tall and weigh 2,000 plus pounds. The largest was 13 feet tall and it weighed 14,500 pounds.
Super. Okay, let's see. Who can do number 3? I can't get rid of this thing. I don't understand why, but this little doohickey here, I don't know what that's from. Let me get rid of that. Maybe that will take care of it. Okay. Well, okay, there. That's, well, anyway, that's supposed to say dark gray. Okay, let's see. Volunteer for number 3. Vincent, can you do number 3 for us?
Okay. The African elephant is dark gray and has ears 4 feet long. Its longest tusks were 11.5 feet, and its heaviest were 293 pounds.
Great. Okay, somebody can do number 4.
I can do number 4.
Thank you, Samra.
Asian elephants live in the forests and jungles of southern and southeastern Asia.
Oh, okay. Okay, you skipped down to number 5. That's good. That's good. Let's go back and do a number 4, and then I'll let you say number 5 again. Let's see. Rosa, have you done one yet?
No,
Can you do number 4 for us?
I forgot what they meant by bush.
Oh, well, that was a iffy thing. There are 2 types, bush and forest. So that's what that was
okay.
about. But that's why we check the keyword outlines to make sure we can actually use it. And apparently that was a fail on my part. Okay, but now you can say it though.
There are 2 types of elephants, bush and forest. The bush elephants live in the southern Sahara, and the forest elephants live in Central and West Africa.
Great. Okay, now Samra, say yours again. We're switching to the Asian elephants at this point.
Asian elephants live in the forests and jungles of southern and southeastern Asia.
Super. Okay, let's see. We've got Charlotte and Anirudh that need to say one. Who would do number 6? Okay, Charlotte.
It can be gray with pink and white polka dots. And
I love that.
what's the thing after polka dots stand for?
Oh, that means about.
Oh, okay.
It's called a tilde.
And is about, oh wait, no.
Yeah.
They can be about 9 feet tall and
I don't know what that 2 was for there. Just ignore that. Just do with the
Okay.
8,000.
And 8,000 pounds.
Super. Okay, Anirudh, we're counting on you to do our last one.
I got it weighs 5 feet and it generally lives in the bushes.
Oh, okay. So here, this was the one about the male and having tusks that could be 4 or 5 feet, and that some males don't have tusk and they're called machnas, and some females generally don't have tusk, and but if they do, they're called tushes. Okay, so you can just read it off the screen. Sorry, my writing is kind of scratchy there. Sorry about that, y'all.
I can't see with my glasses.
Oh, okay. That was actually the male symbol here.
Okay. Some male tusks. Can you like make it bigger?
I might be able to. Let's see. Is that better?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, sorry. Okay, that's actually the feet mark there after the 4 to 5.
Some male elephants have large feet and some, wait, what's that word?
Machnas. Some don't have tusk and they're called machnas. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, y'all. This is not very good writing on my part.
It's okay.
Okay. And females generally don't have tusks, but if they do, they're called, that says tushes, but you probably can't read that. Okay, great. I'll do the clincher. Regardless of their size, all elephants are magnificent and overwhelming when seen in person. How about that as a clincher? Ta-da! Okay, so that's how you go about. Obviously, we did not even come close to using all the information that was on that page. Y'all see that? Okay. So this is what we're going to do for homework. Let me do the stop share. Okay. Wow, time goes so fast with you guys. We did do better this time. Getting through everything. Look on page 201. This is your new assignment, and move your sticky note or turn your page down or whatever it is you do to help remember what page you're supposed to be on. And what you're going to be doing for this time is you're going to be writing 3 paragraphs, and they're all going to be about the body of an elephant. And let me show you what you have to choose from. The article that you're going to be writing from is on page 150 and 151. So turn there quickly with me. And I'm going to you can see at the very beginning, it has just some general information. If that fits in with any of the topics, you're welcome to use that, okay? But then we have a bunch of other topics that we can choose from. And so you're going to actually pick 3 of these topics. You can see the topics in bold black. So what are the topics? Y'all can circle the topics as we read them. Who can read the bold black topics for us? Okay, Laura Kate.
Skin and hair, trunk, tusk and teeth, legs and feet, senses, intelligence.
Okay, so those are the topics you have to choose from. Now I want you to make one small adjustment on the tusk and teeth ones. Really it's really tusk and molars, and they all qualify as teeth, okay? Both the tusk, which can be 11 feet long, and the molars are actually considered teeth. That's a long tooth, isn't it? Okay, so here, where instead of saying tusk and teeth, put tusk and molars. Scratch out teeth and put molars, because both of those things actually count as teeth. Okay? Can y'all see that? So this whole paragraph is about their teeth, which are divided in tusks and molars. So when you write your topic sentence, lots of times I'll have students who will say tusks as their topic, but then they start talking about the molars. Remember the umbrella. So when you're talking about the tusks and the molars, those both come under the topic of teeth. That's a little confusing. I'm sorry. I meant to change it in my handbook this year and I forgot. But now I've got a sticky tab on it, and I will remember when I revise next summer to go back and change my topic there. Okay, so legs and feet. If you talk about the legs and feet, you have to mention legs and feet in the topic sentence, because there's information for both, and they're really cool. Their legs and feet are very cool. Everything about an elephant is cool. Plus, they're really, really, really smart. Okay, so you're going to be picking 3 of these and making a keyword outline for each of them. You know, have 7 or 8 points on it. And that means you're probably not going to get all of the information in your keyword outline, but you don't have to. Just pick 7 or 8 facts, okay, and make your keyword outline. So this is what you're going to be writing from. Yes, Laura Kate.
So like I know we're not going to get all the information into it, but like if we choose one of the ones that has like 2 topics, like skin and hair or whatever, we need to make sure we get both of those in there.
Yes, both of them. Because, I mean, probably with skin and hair, you might actually be able to just skip hair, because hair isn't a real big topic with elephants. You could just talk about their skin. Okay. With legs and feet, you'll definitely need to talk about both, because I don't think there's enough information there to do just one or the other. And besides that, they're so closely connected. Like when they lift their leg, their foot contracts. And when they put their leg down, the foot expands. I mean, it's pretty cool. So with that one, you really do have to talk about both, okay, just to have enough information. There's a good bit of information about intelligence. There's lots of information about the trunk, which is also one of the cool ones. I love the trunk, their intelligence, and their senses. Those are my favorite topics. But you can pick whichever 3 you like the most. Read through the whole thing and see which ones you like before you pick your 3, okay? Yes, Charlotte.
So for each topic, are we only supposed to write 1 paragraph for each topic?
Yes, and you'll notice that each of them have several paragraphs, right?
Yeah.
All of them except for teeth. All of them except for tusk and molars have, no, actually, there are 2 paragraphs for tusk and molars. The next paragraph is at the top of the next page. So, but I want you to choose information and write 1 paragraph. That's a very good question, Charlotte. Thank you very much. Does that make sense to everybody? So when you get finished, you're going to have 3 paragraphs. Now, some of you are going to be bothered that there's no introduction or conclusion, but we will be learning how to do that, okay? We're just not, introductions and conclusions are special paragraphs, and we're not doing that right now. That's a whole different thing than what we are doing with these. These both need topic clinchers, and we call them body paragraphs, okay? So don't feel like you're doing something wrong because you're not having an introduction and conclusion. We will get to that, okay? Just not for this assignment. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Any other questions that you can think of?
not really.
Rosa.
If we have questions for you, can we ask them through ThinkWave? Would you rather have us email you or text you?
Email me, because I only see questions on ThinkWave if I'm actually on ThinkWave. I don't get notifications from ThinkWave. So like if you were to send me a question on ThinkWave, I would probably not see it, especially next week when I don't have any writing classes.
Yeah.
If I happen to be on there, like grading papers or posting grades or something like that, I would see it, but that's hit or miss. But I'll definitely see it if you send it to me on my email, my regular email, jkimbrell.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So, Yeah, so that's a
And
very good
I have
question.
one other. I have one
Okay.
other question. When are we doing writing from pictures? Because I really like that, and I saw the pictures
That
in
is
our
our
book.
very last paper we do at the very end of the school year. I saved that one for last
one.
because, first of all, it's fiction writing, and this first semester is nonfiction, second semester is fiction, and then we do some harder and harder things in second semester. So we end the year on a happy note with writing from pictures, which is really the most creative of all of the units. You know, yeah, everybody loves that one. And it's a good way after everybody's worn themselves out writing all year. It's a good way to end. Good question, Vincent.
So when we rewrite our paragraphs for our finals, do we write it all on one page?
Yes, they are all going to be on one page. Thank you so much for your attention. And thank you for your contribution to the discussion. I hate to just listen to myself talk, so that's a relief when I don't have to do that. Okay, you guys, any other questions before we go? No? Laura Kate.
We are using all 6 of the dress up, right?
All 6. And did I show you, I mean, did you notice that about Ian's? Yeah, this is how it looks. Yeah, notice that he's got 6 dress ups in each of his
I was about to ask.
Yeah. So
6
let's
paragraph. We have to use all 6 in each of our paragraphs.
All 6 in each paragraph. And notice how they jump out at me, which saves me time when I'm looking for them. And I do look for them and I do figure out whether you've actually done what I've asked you to do. So don't try to fake me out. Yeah, so all 6 in each paragraph. And he has a lot of dress ups. Like here's another LY, but notice that he did not underline it. That's because he's already got that one underlined. Okay. Okay. Good question. Anything else? No? All right. Okay, y'all are great about asking questions. I really do appreciate it. Because if you have a question about it, somebody else more than likely does as well. Okay? All right. I'll let you know when the papers are ready to be looked at online, okay? Mm-hmm. Oh, did everybody get to see their paper that I returned and the comments and the grades? Mm-hmm. It's a very important part of the process. Don't ever skip that because you don't want to practice something wrong more than you have to, okay? So when I tell you what needs to be fixed, make sure you fix it on the next paper that you're writing, okay? All right.
Yep.
See you soon.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.